We're still waiting on Loretta.
Okay.
I literally heard the story and like woke up this morning crying because it's astonishing. It's astonishing. Every single day I argue with insurance companies.
Mm-hmm.
But like at what point do we sit there and we're like, maybe we should take care of our babies? You know, like what about
Yeah, it's a terrible situation. We've been going through a lot, and that's the last thing we need to deal with as insurance companies. They're supposed to be there for us to rely on.
ensure that you're able to get the health care that you need?
Right.
And I tell Julie, I'm so sorry.
And
I
at
tell
the time
Julie,
that you need it too,
right. And it's something that we're told to invest into in case we ever get hit by a bus.
Hello.
And
Hi
then
there.
the time comes when you need it more than anything. And guess what? It's not there.
Right.
So I did see your GoFundMe, and it's amazing to see the number of people that I've really kind of grabbed on.
Yeah. Buffalo has a lot of good community members. It's a very community-based city. There's a lot of nonprofits that kind of jumped in and kind of put their perspective on things. Sweet Buffalo is a great nonprofit. Hope Rises, I'm new with, but they're awesome. We were actually featured on our Channel 7 here a couple nights ago. That was actually the night that Sophia was at the ER, so she actually had to stay the night over at the emergency room. So as we're dealing with all this and all this has happened, we were actually at the emergency room trying to deal with that as well. So, yeah.
That's one of the first things, because when I woke up this morning, the first thing I did was go on live and I had her little picture there. And I was like, it's one thing when we're denying like people that can actually argue for themselves, but this is a 22-month-old. Like,
right.
I feel like the people denying the care should have to go up to her, look her in the face and say, I don't think this is medically necessary.
That's one of my biggest things too. So I just recently went through insurance changed, with different jobs and such. We were with Independent Health first, which they were great, no issues. They put it right through. She's been on this medication for 7 months. I recently went through a change in employment, went to this Express Scripts, which is a company through Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield.
We're home of Express Scripts.
Yeah, they're headquartered here.
Okay. Yep. And, I've been getting denied since I think January 9th.
So where does it stand right now?
As of right now, I guess late last night, they must have approved it.
They did approve it?
So their corporate office, I guess, called me today and, saying that they would approve it and stuff. And I'm asking them, like, why did we even have to go through all this to get approval? Because they've been denying it since January 9th.
Wow.
Roswell Cancer Institute, our specialists there actually had the peer-to-peer. They denied the peer-to-peer. Roswell had sent over a bunch of information, or whatever they do as Sophia's file and such. Not even 60 seconds later, they received the denial for that. They didn't even look at the information.
Wow.
I can't even read a name that quick.
Well, their algorithms can.
They probably didn't even get out of the screen before they got the denial. And I find that absolutely ridiculous. Now, don't get me wrong. We are very grateful that they finally approved it. But why did we have to go through that with her being in the hospital? Why did I have to contact the news for this to happen? Or why did we have to get this out there to get her approval so quickly? She shouldn't have to wait. Us as a family, again, was dealing with other situations with her. Why? And then on top of that, we're getting denials. I mean, it's just not right. I don't think, the land of the free, we're supposed to be the greatest country in the world, and we have to fight for coverage for our daughter.
You can't even pick your pharmacy.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Wow. So Loretta is with us. Loretta is a tireless, amazing advocate.
She introduced us.
And of course, that's how we got connected with you. And we're all kindred spirits. And we do this every day, all day. But Benjamin, we were also moved by your story. Loretta, bring us up to speed on what you know.
So what I know about the story, so I just found out about this yesterday. And every day, how I find patients suffering. Sometimes I know me and Claudia's had these breakdown moments. The first time I talked to Claudia, I remember she had a breakdown moment, and she's seen me have those breakdown moments where everything is just so hard and heavy, because the number of patient stories that we see every day like this is massive, and it's burdensome on us as advocates. I can't even imagine, being the parent having to go through that.
It's terrible.
You're supposed to be able to focus on your child healing.
Right.
Well, Loretta's been through this too. So it's, you've got an amazing story, because but for you and your wife and the media and your friends and your family and your network and your local news station, your daughter would very well possibly be blind.
And just sure. And what's very unfortunate is, she was diagnosed with neurofibromatosis. We had no clue what this was when this happened. We were very unfamiliar with it. A lot of people actually don't know what that is. It's 1 in every 2,000 children receive it. The best way that I can describe it is each case it's almost like a snowflake effect. Each case is so different from the other. With hers, she developed the hydrocephalus with the ocular glioma on her brain. The hydrocephalus part of it is where the fluid builds up in your brain. Everybody's body kind of has a way of dissipating that fluid. Her body, unfortunately, does not. So when we found this out, we went to a normal doctor's appointment. Hey, she's very lethargic. She's not putting weight on her legs. You would set her down. She would just immediately drop. She ended up losing a lot of weight and has had to go through lots of physical therapy to build that muscle back. And 5 hours later, next thing we know, she was going in for brain surgery to have the shunt put in.
Wow.
That shunt is forever. That's not just a temporary thing. That's something that she has to have forever. The tumor, we were told by our doctors, obviously that's the first thing any parent, is there any way we can operate to get this removed? No way to have it removed. There's actually pretty much 100% chance she would go blind if they even operate on it. So a big word in our family is stability. We know the probability of the tumor being broken down to nothing is it's probably not going to happen. So the best thing that we can hope for Sophia is that this medication at least makes it stable enough to where it's benign. It doesn't grow, doesn't affect her vision. And that's something that we can live with as long as it's stable. That's why this medication is very important for her. It's not the type of medicine where a kid has a flu. Okay, well, she can stop taking it for a little while. No, that's not the case. Once this medicine, is taken and absorbed into her body, this is keeping those cells from growing on her brain. This is not something she can just stop taking. And I try to explain this to the insurance company. I'm like, look, and as you said before, do I need to send you guys a picture so you can see her? This is ridiculous. I understand that insurance companies have to make their money and whatever, but again, it's not just one of those medications where you can look at your Excel chart and say, oh, well, this medicine needs to be taken with this one, so we can't approve it. No. In her treatment plan, she's got a whole team of specialists with Roswell, Children's Hospital, the oncologist, just all of them. And I'm sorry, but I think her team of specialists at Roswell Cancer Institute probably knows a little bit more than your Excel charts or your insurance doctors. Even if this case is resolved now and they want to pay part of it, great, thank God. But that's not going to stop me from continuing on, because what we went through this past weekend, I don't want any other family to have to go through that. And there's children out there with metastatic cancer. How hard are they fighting? Today we're actually meeting with his name is John. He and his daughter started NF Northeast, which is a nonprofit. We actually have a meeting with him today to just kind of discuss things with him and how we can help push that farther. I'm not going to stop because she just got coverage. Nobody should have to go through this.
It's not just her either. There's so many kids. Like I was talking whenever I was on TikTok earlier, I was like, Loretta's son almost like rejected a transplant. Then we have Angry Dad's son who couldn't get his asthma or his inhaler. And then it's just a constant. And it's like, when are we going to take care of the kids? If anything, if anyone gets free healthcare, we should give it to the kids first.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you know, there's people out there that everybody needs help. You know, I mean, everybody knows someone that needs help or somebody that has some kind of very bad sickness. If anything, that's one of my arguments too. Give it to the children. I mean, you know, it's unfortunate that everybody needs it, but children come first, you know, in my eyes, you know, and I love my daughter, but looking at her just makes me so angry that anybody has to go through this. You know, I mean, she's amazing. I mean, if you ever met her in person, you know, we go to church and stuff. I mean, she is the biggest rock star. She has all these fans and stuff. And that makes me, again, so angry that I have to look at her every day. And, you know, dealing with this has been very tough, to say the least.
Well, and that's, I think, the insurance companies. I mean, the one thing we all have in common is we're all patients and we've all been denied or delayed health care. And you are paying premiums. Your employer's paying premiums. You're paying premiums. We're all paying premiums. And we're being just delayed, denied, and diverted. And then they look at each other and point to each other and say, not me, not me. Yes, you.
Well, they didn't even give you like a generic option. They just said, no, we're not going to cover it, right?
Right. And the whole pointing fingers thing, I mean, that's pretty much been our battle the past 4 days. We were going back and forth literally for 2 days at least with Express Scripts and Anthem Blue Cross. You know, we got a hold of them. Well, it's up to Express to, you know, put it through. Okay, well, I call Express. No, it ain't our fault. It's Anthem that's not paying for it.
Yep.
Like, look, guys, something needs to be done about this. I'm at the hospital right now.
Crossroad, which would
I mean, it's just pointing fingers back and forth. I mean, it needs to be resolved.
Yep. And that's what we see a lot is happening more and more. And even when they're the insurance company that owns the pharmacy benefit manager or the PBM, this is what they're doing, is the pointing back and forth. And I don't know if you've connected with Angry Dad or if you know Cole's story, but I definitely think we need to get him connected with them. And, you know, they're working on a documentary about some of these issues. It would be great to have your story told.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. You know, this year, beginning of the year, I went to Phil Wesley's, my son's transplant medications, and I was told it was going to be $1,000. And Cole's story, he passed away because he had aged out of his parents' insurance, went to the pharmacy counter, was told that the medication was going to be $500. So he walked away empty-handed. And as I'm sitting here and I realized my son, he's 16 this year, I went upstairs to grab my son. And I said, I don't want to have to do this, Wesley. I don't
even have children. And I woke up sobbing because it's just like, this is a 22-month, like she doesn't even have the verbiage to try to argue for herself.
Right.
She's a baby. Like I don't know how these insurance companies can like, just, nope, we're not covering it. Figure it out.
Well, I think the day of
speaking on that, you know, and that's a terrible story. I mean, that breaks my heart even hearing that. You know, her medication that she's on is $1,800 a bottle. You know, and she is on 2 bottles. She has to take this every day for 2 years minimum. That's her treatment plan as of right now. We had the choice of either doing the Medport or we had a choice of doing this MEK inhibitor. Obviously, we want to know all options, but we decided we wanted to go with this MEK inhibitor because she is a 22-month-old baby.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to put her through the invasiveness of going through the standard drip of chemo.
Right.
So we decided to go with the MEK inhibitor, which it is working as of what we see, but it is $1,800 per bottle out of pocket if I didn't have insurance, where I think that's give or take about $86,000 for 2 years. Nobody can afford that. You know,
more stress on you when you're trying to focus on your daughter's health and her getting better, and you're trying to figure out like the treatment plan, understand what these doctors are saying to you, and then you just in the back of your head you don't know if they're going to cover the treatment. Like you have these professionals that are like, we know what's going to help her, but then insurance comes in and they're like, no.
So what would your message, Benjamin, be to the president of Express Scripts? What would you say to him?
be a human being. You know, again, I understand companies have to make money. I get it. But be a human being. I mean, look at some of these cases that are being presented to you. Realize it's not just numbers. It's not just a chart. I mean, these are human beings. These are children. You know, that again, okay, not everybody, but take the children's cases, look at them, analyze them. The information that is sent to you by people's doctors, actually read the information. Don't just go off your charts. Well, this drug should be taken with this one. Well, my daughter's case is different. It's a very complex case. You know, the MEK inhibitor tranidib, yes, is used for other things. So in those cases, you would use this other drug, but not hers. So there's a lot of complexities with different people's, ailments and situations. Analyze them. Look at them. Be a human being.
What does she think of being in the hospital?
What's that?
What does she think when she's in the hospital?
My daughter?
Yeah.
She absolutely hates it because, she has had a rough go at life and she's not even 2 years old. She's had RSV. That was the first year she was born. So plus with the NF1 and everything going on with that, I mean, we're at the hospital a lot and doctor's appointments, Roswell. I think we're at Roswell once a month. So every time she goes to the doctor, she's getting poked, prodded. This past time, over the weekend, she's got bruises and stuff on her arms and legs because she's a very strong baby. But she had to have 2 MRIs, CAT scans, and she's got to be held down for that. So, I mean, it's very devastating for her when she goes to the hospital because she knows when she sees a doctor, she's probably getting poked. And, she's smart enough to know that for 22 months old.
And how's that for you guys as the parents?
It's terrible. Standing outside of these rooms, hearing her scream for dear life because she's being held down, going into an MRI machine. Or, I'm the one that has to do it because my wife can't do it. But when we go to Roswell, I'm the one that has to hold her and, so they can take the blood. I mean, it's devastating, I have 2 other children. We have 2 teenagers. Thank God nothing happened with them. But I can look and compare, they were healthy with no problems and stuff. So Sophia's going through a lot compared to any other child.
Right.
And it's not only devastating for her, but it's devastating for us, our marriage. I mean, it's tough, because we don't know how, we're figuring this out every day, or what to do, what to say, so it's a battle in its own, just trying to navigate life with this.
Well, and you're mourning the loss of normalcy. And so that is devastating as an adult, as a parent, as a partner, as a patient. I can tell you that we have gone to the Express Scripts protest. Loretta organized the Express Script protest. We were there in May, and nothing has changed.
I told Julie today, why don't we just drive up there and ask, hey, could we talk to the media department? This is a huge building.
We will be arrested.
And they don't have a PR.
But the hardest thing, I think, is because I don't even have children. I only have to worry about myself. But whenever something like this happens to a family, it's her older siblings, they're supposed to be there to protect her. So I can only imagine the guilt they feel. And then it's just, it's probably extremely distressing on the marriage too, because you're in a gray area. You don't know what's going to happen next.
Right.
So Loretta, what would you say to Express Scripts leadership, knowing that you've been standing at the gates of hell with these PBMs for a decade? What do you say to the Express Scripts leadership right now?
We are so tired of you. I am so tired of hearing these stories from patients every single day. I search media for these stories. I see them. And if I can reach out to one to get them to tell, thank you so much, Benjamin, for being willing to share your story, because my thought was we are not going to let them deny this child this medication. I know exactly who to get some attention on this. And if media is how we have to win it, let's give it a try. And I know social media is powerful, and Holly, Claudia Holly's great. And so is Julie. I just wanted to put my all into it, but we are tired of having to go to media and social media to get these patients the care that they're paying money for Express Scripts to provide. And we're tired of our doctors, teams. He mentioned how many professionals that help his daughter and oversee their care, and Express Scripts risking all of that work and children's lives for what? For profits? Because billions isn't enough for them? I just think we're tired. There's no excuses for this. It needs to stop. We are so sick and tired of PBMs. And I hope also, Benjamin, that you'll get involved in legislative change and telling your stories to legislators, because no more excuses from legislators for inaction on these issues.
But your confidence and being able to like come out and share your story too, like you're one in probably a million, because a lot of people don't realize the strength there is with social media. Like me being on live this morning, I was telling like what I knew about the story, and there were like 4 people that are like, this is my town and I haven't heard anything about this. Like I'm writing to all my senators, I'm writing to all the attorney general, everyone that I possibly can, because this is unacceptable. It's a 22-month-old. And your baby girl is just absolutely beautiful and the happiest baby I've ever seen, sitting there with hooked up to a machine. And it's like, at what point does humanity come back into it?
Right. Well, give us a final thought, Benjamin, and then I'm going to say my message to the Express Scripts leadership.
You know, just kind of what I was saying before. You know, these health insurance companies, you know, the pharmacies and such that work for the health insurance companies, I mean, that just be human beings. I mean, you know, look at these cases. We're not saying to not be a company, not to make your money, but don't make your money off of these children. You know, look at the cases, be human beings. I mean, maybe families should start sending in pictures with them, you know, so they can actually see them, because I think when people call and they're trying to, you know, get everything taken care of while their loved ones are in the hospital or whatever the case may be, they're just numbers, you know. Oh, well, this case number or whatever, your case or letter, you know, they're not seeing the true reality of the medications that needs to be there to help these children and help these people. They just need to be human. Stop being robots and take care of us. Yeah, we pay money. We're paying you to help us.
I was telling Julie earlier, it's like a parent will go to they will do absolutely anything for their child. Now, the horrible thing that happened with the United Healthcare situation, awful. But it's also like, you look back and you're like, okay, they were on the Fortune 500 billion dollar company. And for what? Just being a face that says, sound out this critical noise of people needing healthcare?
Well, I'll bet they have great health insurance.
Right. So here's my final thought for the thugs at the pharmacy benefit managers. And I'm particularly looking at Express Scripts, OptumRx, and CVS Caremark. If you're going to be in the business of healthcare, the physicians' offices and the physicians and clinicians of the United States of America, our prescription should be enough to get a prescription filled. We don't need your prior authorization gatekeepers bullshit. We need to get you out of the way of inserting yourself in between the doctors and the patients. So either do that or get the hell out of healthcare. Well, that's my message.
I think we've really created a phenomenal group of advocates, and I'm so hopefully you'll be in our little group of advocating.
No, absolutely.
Like, power really does come in numbers, and it's the more we share, the more we educate people, and then they'll feel empowered to stand up against their insurance company. That's one of like my biggest things is I'm like, if we engage more with people, they'll be more educated, and then they'll feel empowered to actually ask the questions like, wait, why are you transferring me? What's needed to be transferred?
We're going to see change in my lifetime. I would have said five months ago, I would have said no, but because of Luigi, the conversation is right here. So buckle up. Benjamin, you're delightful. You're in our thoughts and prayers.
Thank you.
This is for saving Sophia. Everybody give a follow on that. Loretta Bosling, rock star advocate. I mean, she's the best.
And I still have a few questions.
Of course you do.
He's not in the healthcare. Like, you have a regular job, right? And like insurance, you've always had insurance just in case you got hit by a bus. And it's like, so once you start actually getting into it and you have the health insurance company, you have your secondary health insurance, and then Express Scripts is denying it. How, like, what was your thought process for that? Like, how is the pharmacy denying it?
So the way that kind of worked out was she does have secondary insurance through Medicaid. That's it. So that's a whole nother argument is Express Scripts actually denied her, and that was on January 9th. her secondary.
We love dogs.
We love dogs.
I've got Jerome right next to me. He's ready to pounce.
He's
taking
here to
really
rubble.
Okay, sorry, that's the other baby.
Hey, he said, your dog want to throw paws?
Sorry, guys.
So she was denied on January 9th. Hey, Medicaid had picked up her medicine, said that they would pay for it. And they actually, after approving it, decided they were going to deny it because they said that the primary should pay part of it.
You want to go off of it?
Yes.
So this is
That's
after
what's so
approving it.
confusing. You
What's
know,
that?
like, so we're relying on the primary
I'm
insurance
running
to
on
approve
multiple
it, but like,
computers
then
in there,
what's
and
the
I've got
point? Like, I know
meeting I gotta
secondary
go
covers
to.
the co-insurance, but you're still paying the same. Like, if I were to have a secondary insurance, you're still paying for it.
Right, but so they weren't going to pay for it. Medicaid said they would. So we were ecstatic. Oh, great. And then we ended up getting a call saying that they weren't going to cover it. This is after saying that it was approved. So that's kind of how we ended up in the situation we're in now. Hey, go lay down. So the day that we received that call, hey, it's not approved, not even the next day, we had to go to the hospital with Sophia because of situations to do with her neurofibromatosis. It's like, do you need any more proof? You know, I mean, it's, yeah. So that's.
Well, and the hospital bills, I can't even imagine. Like, the unnecessary testing that, like, they're doing, because that's just how hospitals make money. And it's just like, this is a baby. Like, this is a baby. Like, and it, like, I literally start crying every time I think about it, because it's like, if anyone deserves treatment without even having to fight, it's her. Look how smiley she is in one of the worst situations even adults could think of. Like, nobody wants to be there.
My heart goes out to Benjamin and his wife as well. It's so hard because, you know, my son had his transplant at the age of 2, and he talks about, you know, the having to hold her for her IVs or for getting blood draws. I just remember, I think that was the hardest age for me. Truly, truly hard. So anything at all that you can do to protect your child having to go through any of that, you'll do. You'll do.
And I remember, one of my worst memories is whenever I was a really, really young child, I had to get surgery on my head. And they didn't give me enough anesthesia, and I just woke up screaming and crying for my dad because I had these IVs hooked up. I didn't know what was going on. There's a bunch of strangers. This nurse is like, shh. And I'm like, where the heck's my dad? Like, get me out of here. So it's just like, and these kids can't even comprehend. Like, they just think, I can't even imagine what's going through her head. Like,
right. And, you know, when she's in these rooms and we're hearing her scream, you know, with the MRIs, I mean, that's the first thing she does is reach for you. And, you know, when you're walking in the room to go pick her up, she's reaching for you. I mean, that's the heartbreaking stuff. You know, I mean, that's the stuff the insurance companies don't see. You know, I mean, maybe they should see this side. It's
okay.
And I can't even imagine what you're going through, Loretta. I'm so sorry that you have to deal with that.
Thanks.
You know, prayers for you and your family. I mean, it's this whole thing is terrible. I don't understand why we have to go through this in there.
Can I ask something? Do you prior to this, did you know what a pharmacy benefit manager or a PBM was?
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
Or pharmacy benefit manager.
Okay. Awesome. All right.
Before all this, I didn't know much of any of this. You know, again, we kind of
for when right away.
We're getting through every day with the best we can. I mean, we're learning as we go type situation.
We'll see you tomorrow.
I've connected with a lot of good people. Again, a lot of organizations. And I'm going to drag this out as far as I possibly can go with it. I haven't directly mailed anybody yet. I'm actually going to as soon as
where I live. So
I'll mail
somebody get back into town. They're going to help me with some letters and stuff. But I've been trying to reach out to Letitia James, which is our New York State Attorney General.
Shout out Letitia James. Please
nice to see you guys.
Reach out to Benjamin.
Bonnie, let's go.
From what I hear, she's a very tough cookie and a good person to have on your side. So, you know, I've been kind of trying to just tag her name in things, and hopefully maybe she can get the story, you know. in hopes that it can go farther, you know, and this story needs to go out. Everybody's story needs to go out, not just ours, but just this whole situation that we have to fight so hard to make sure our children are healthy.
Right.
Don't go to Sierra.
Loretta really scrounged up an army. She's created this army. Like, I feel like I've learned so much about advocacy from her in like a year. And it's like,
hold on, now
our
I forgot
goal,
my iPad.
We all have the same goal. It's just for people to be able to get healthcare that they need. Like, we're not asking for you to cover Botox. We're not asking for you to cover a boob job. We're asking for these medically necessary treatments that these people need. And it's like, you're acting like I'm asking for you guys to give me free Botox in my forehead. Like,
all right,
you know, with some things, I know there's a lot of experimental drugs going out there. I know a lot of stuff, especially when you get into like the cancers and such. There's a lot of trials and stuff with a lot of the medication. So I get it that there would be some questions about certain, you know, drugs pertaining to that. Sophia's is FDA approved. I mean, it's fairly new, but it's approved. I mean, there's no reason that it should not be put through immediately after the doctor requests it. There's some cases out there with metastatic cancers. People don't have a week to wait. You know, they don't even have a few days. I mean, there's a lot of very complex cases out there that need to be addressed immediately.
And it seems like in your case, I'm wondering if they didn't use AI. And it seems like that's more common, that right away they're getting those denials almost the minute that I mean, either they're not looking at them or that's AI.
Right. Yeah.
But if AI is doing it, we need an MPI number for that AI, and they better have some clinical like doctorates on there, because like I looked up artificial intelligence, who I was married to. You want to know who I married in 2023? Lamar Odom. Like, you can't rely on it. It fabricates things that aren't even realistic. And like, so what were some of the first signs that you like noticed with Sophia that like worried you? Like, how old was she when she first started going to treatment? You guys started figuring this out.
So when she was first born, she had when she was first born, the amniotic sac lost all the fluid. She spent the first 2 weeks after birth being in the NICU because it created almost like a cryovac type situation when she was in the sac. So when she came out, her face was kind of smushed. She had a little bit wide set eyes. So after a few tests and stuff, we actually thought that she had Noonan's disease, which kind of runs with neurofibromatosis. I mean, there's some similarities. So we thought it was that at first. We had a lot of tests done, and we actually found out that she does not have Noonan's. She just happens to have wide set eyes. But in that time, we also found out that she had neurofibromatosis. Okay. So we started seeing cafe au lait spots on her skin, which is almost kind of looks like a birthmark. Well, she has about 20 or 30 of them. They're just they're a little bit bigger than a freckle. So she has these all over her body. So after more testing, we found out that she had neurofibromatosis. Well, in her case, she has type 1. Unfortunately, type 1 is the bad one. So after finding out that she had NF1, everything started kind of happening. We originally found out how serious it was when she started losing the weight. She should have been walking, and I have pictures. I can't show you through here because it's on my phone, but you know, her legs were like twigs. I mean, she wouldn't walk, she would drop. She was very lethargic. We thought she was just cuddly. Unfortunately, that was not the case. We took her into the pediatrician. They said that we need to go to the emergency room. We would go to the emergency room. They run some tests. Then we're going to this doctor. I mean, we spent the whole day going back and forth to doctors. And again, you know, like I said before, probably 5-6 hours later, she's going in for brain surgery to have the shunt put in. Once the shunt was put in, it was almost immediately that she started standing back up on her legs, wanting to walk. So, I mean, her ventricles should have been the size of peas, on both sets of your brain. So the fluid, there was so much fluid buildup on her brain caused by this tumor. They were almost the size of golf balls, both of them. That's how much fluid that she had pressing against her brain. So what happened was when that was pressing against her brain, whatever that was hitting in that part of the brain was keeping her from standing up. She couldn't stand because of that. So the fluid was released. She was standing. But then we found out that, about the tumor, and that's when we found that out. And again, I mean, this is a lifelong battle, and this is just, God, I hope that this is all that happens, but there's so many other things that neurofibromatosis can cause. Right now, this is what we're dealing with, and we pray, as unfortunate as it is, that is all that she develops. But there's other things that could happen. I mean, it's a lifelong battle. I mean, we need more awareness of it. I had no clue what it was. I'm still learning every day of stuff about it. Again, the guy I'm meeting with today is from NF Northeast. His daughter has, in her case, the tumor on the side of her face. It's about the size of a baseball. So every case is different,
What would your biggest piece of advice be to other parents?
That's so broad. What kind of advice? As far as
going, like, if their child's like, you're going into the hospital,
just try to stay level-headed. I mean, there's so many thoughts that run through my mind, my wife's head, and we just try to bounce them off each other, but you just really need to keep your head on your shoulders and just you just got to keep pushing forward, fight for your daughter. I mean, with this whole situation, but best advice I can give is just keep trying. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's difficult.
Your strength is so admirable, though. Like, genuinely, me thinking if I were in that position, I would be kicking windows down. Like, I would be that person that they call a code purple on just for being like, I'm not listening to you. We're going to fix this. I don't care if I go to jail. This is not right. But like, luckily, you're more level-headed than me. And like, you're actually able to use this as a way to not only help your daughter, but to help an unknown number of families get the confidence to share their stories online and to create this, like, it's almost there's a village behind you fighting for you. And I can promise, no matter what, I'll go on TikTok, I'll go on whatever live, and I'll tell the story, because it's not right. At some point, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the richest man in the world. If this were to affect their family member the way it's affecting you, maybe they'd get a wake-up call. And it's just genuinely heartbreaking to see, because like, I was honestly like, we're making headway, Loretta, like, we're making a move. And it's just like, and then we have Express Scripts who, God, I didn't know they could just sit there and be like, nope, you have to approve. Nope. And it's just like,
yeah.
I truly would be curious to see if it's all AI generated. Again, we were talking with Roswell, and I think they were on the phone with my wife when they had sent over, all the files and such, and they're like, oh, they just sent a message back saying it's denied. Not even 60 seconds. I mean, it was so fast. I mean, by the time they hit enter and remove their hand from the keyboard, they're already receiving a denial.
I wonder if they were doing it on like Cover My Meds or Sure Scripts, because that's like a really quick way that we get, like, it takes like 60 seconds and they approve or deny the medication, or they say like inactive and you have to call the insurance company. But it's still, to get treatment, medically necessary treatment, you, a father just trying to protect his baby girl, should not have to go through all of these obstacles just to ensure that she's getting quality care that she needs, the medically necessary care. She needs to try and live as much of an ordinary life as she can. Like, you guys have so many battles and you're fighting and you're so strong. And it's just like, and the strength in Sophia is just,
she's a very strong girl.
I'm going to make it my plan to come meet her, because it's heartbreaking that she has to be that strong at such a young age.
I hope that Express Scripts after this realizes that this is not a family that they want to mess with. And if this family needs a medication, we're ready. We're ready to fight alongside of them. We're not going to let them get by with this ever again. I really would not suggest.
You know,
right.
No, I will be happy to take this as far as I could possibly go. And it's not just Express Scripts. Don't get me wrong. This is my battle. But there's other people out there that with other insurance companies, other pharmacies that have to go through this. It's unacceptable. Unacceptable.
Right. The other two are OptumRx and CVS Caremark. And you'll learn more as you go. You know, focus on your daughter, number one. But when you can, you want a moment to advocate some more connections. You let us know, because we will help build you up and get you to where
trust and believe. Like, trust and believe. If there's like, I would say like Loretta and I are a pretty good team together. Like, she's kind of, I'm the more no filter one, and then she's able to kind of get it back to where it's like, this is how we professionally say it, whereas I'm like, this is effed up, this is BS, and we need, like, because it is, and it's just like unfathomable. Like, look at you're sitting up strong. Most people would be folded over like a lawn chair, just confused and terrified, and like, but you're showing your daughter strength, and like, I hope you know that too. Like, you sitting there and being able to talk about what she's going through is a strength that a lot of people don't possess, because they're scared, and rightfully so, because there's retaliation happening constantly. But it's like, if we don't have people to stand up against these stupidly rich companies, they're just going to keep making more and more ways for them to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And
something alarming here, though, that came about is, when did they dissolve their public relations media team? When did that happen?
I didn't know about that. I was actually talking with Febin with Channel 7 News. She was trying to reach out. So she was doing some reaching out for me before we were on the 11 o'clock there. She had reached out to both Anthem Blue Cross and Express. She was able to get a hold of Blue Cross, but she's like, there's no PR with Express. There's no media office.
I just want to go up there.
How is that? Like, okay.
They don't want to answer. They know they're under a lot. If you don't know anything yet about what's going on with Express, you're going to find out. But they are under intense pressure from the FTC, from legislators, from the Department of Justice. What they have done to America's pharmacy and medication access should be criminal. And I'd be 100%. Surprised to find out that it's not. So,
I was looking into a little bit of that, and they have a lot of cases against them. All you have to do is review or look at their reviews. I mean, it goes very in depth of everybody that's going after them. I can see why they don't have PR. I mean, if you really want to talk about that, I mean, it's. I don't know.
I think no PR is worse than having bad PR, because that's just like, meh, they're all right. We're just going to sit here and let them talk. We're going to let them, and hopefully they'll make themselves look crazy. Like, it's going to sound so otherworldly, like it couldn't possibly be true. But it's like, our veterans fight for our freedom, come back, can't even choose an independent pharmacy.
Right.
Like, you can't even choose what pharmacy you want to go to. If you had a trusted relationship with a local independent pharmacy and you're mandated to Express Scripts, it's like, and then it's also in a way breaking the patient physician trust, because in the patient's head, it's like, well, why are you picking this medication that the insurance deems is too expensive and it's not medically necessary? And apparently there's like 3 other things we could try, but you're having success. And that's why you're fighting.
Yep.
And to some, it's like we're speaking Spanish, Loretta. It's like, whenever I talk to these insurance reps on the phone, I make sure to go in depth. And I'm like, do you understand what white bag drug is? Like, do you understand how dangerous this is? Like, if it's not, the temperature is not regulated, or it's it's a huge liability. I don't even know how the company can stay in business because like
they stay in business by pulling the wool over the eyes of everyone else. But this, you had mentioned, you let them say earlier his comments, to the other parents going through this. You mentioned temperatures for a moment. And when he had mentioned, the cries and the screams of his daughter, I just went back to a moment for a second with my son. What happened is they shipped his medications in only a bag, liquid world transplant meds, how to stay in Missouri. And not long after he went into rejection, I remember those screams and cries. And to find out that's not even regulated, as they are forcing so many to mail order, was shocking. And that's where I had learned about pharmacy benefit managers and like Express Scripts that often steer to their own pharmacies and reject these medications as they increase drug prices. Just so much that I uncovered. It was just shocking. I'm like, how could we not do more about this in America? And you realize then that you're fighting up against the largest corporations in our nation. And you see all these other patients, thank God you were able to reach out to media, but there's a lot that don't get that.
Right. Well, I think it's very unfortunate is that, we became as a society probably so used to this. I guess, it's almost kind of the norm. You shouldn't have to feel like that. I mean, thankfully, there's people like you that go down the rabbit hole and actually discover this stuff. But again, I think us as a society has just accepted it. Well, we shouldn't have to just accept that.
Right. And I think to parents, who are listening, other concerned people in general who are listening, don't wait until you're in this situation. What happened to Benjamin, what happened to me, what Claudia works with every day with the patients that she sees can happen to you. For our child, like our life changed overnight. We didn't plan on any of this. I'm sure you didn't either. It's just, this is what we have now. And I wish I would have been more involved in advocacy earlier. It's harder now that, it shouldn't be left to you to have to fight this though. It should be.
It's terrifying too, because it's like, I don't have kids, but it's also like, if I were to have a child, first off, God help us for retaliation, they're gonna be like, "Ooh." And then also like, would I have to sit there on my hands and knees begging? Like, is that what it's going to take for Express Scripts to do the right thing? Like, do I need to come out there on my hands and knees and plead that you
that's what it feels
save my daughter's life?
Mm-hmm. That's not what it should take at all. But that is almost what it seems like they want you to do. And then as you're going through this and some of these calls, you see there's these families, these patients are on the phone call for hours, some days.
4 hours is my longest phone call.
Yeah.
And it's getting transferred offshore. You ask for a supervisor. Next thing you know, you're offshore. And I'm like, don't you have free healthcare? And she goes, well, yes, but I understand. And I'm like, then you can't even comprehend this. Like, you genuinely cannot comprehend what you're doing. And it's just sickening. But it's also like, you give me hope, because it just goes to show, like, if we use our voice, you'll find the right people. And when you find the right people, trust and believe, I will go down kicking and screaming before Sophia's medication gets denied. Like, I'll be Mario if I have to be. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's, in a way, I don't even understand how it's not considered like terrorism.
Right. It should be illegal. I mean, this is supposed to be the greatest country in the world, and we shouldn't have to be going through this.
And what
I don't know another country where doctors' clinical education gets denied over a business plan.
Right.
So.
Yep. These are human beings. I mean, they're not numbers or case numbers. Take a look at the humans. Be a human.
Right.
I think that's a huge part of the problem, is so much of this is done over the phone by faceless, and if they have it their way, nameless people,
right.
Taking their pictures off of the websites because they're a CEO, like, okay, David Cordani, okay, I need to look up all the names, but it's like, no, you can't take your face down. Like, they look up your insurance card. I guarantee there's probably a picture of you right there, and it's like, you can't. How do we hide? What if we want to hide from these insurance companies that are targeting us? Like, we're the victims. I'm so sorry. It took something terrible to start a discussion, but it did what it needed to do. And it started a discussion because it made people start looking into, well, why would this, Ivy League guy just do that? Right. And like, your poor daughter can't even express the amount of pain she's in. And that was one thing with Luigi. He was in constant pain in his back and like got furious, and he had to hear his mom screaming. And it's like, listening to your parent is one thing, but listening to your daughter or your child,
it's devastating.
Like both of you guys, I could just start crying because it's not right. Like, you guys are their superheroes, And
she doesn't know what's going on. Again, I mean, she knows when she's at the doctor, something's going to happen to her, So I mean, she doesn't know, and we call it the big MRI. So when she has her big MRIs, they have to put her under. Watching a child being put under is not okay. That's a very scary situation.
Something no parent should have to go through, and for those of us that again had to go through that, I know you'll do anything to not see your child go through anything that's unnecessary. And that's where the PBMs, they want to sometimes, I think, laugh us off as far as, because we're so little and they think they have so much power.
Random people creating a snowball effect.
Yeah, I don't think they planned on that, but that's real. We're building up against them. And there is this, like you said, strong, mighty force taking them on. And I do believe that we're getting closer, but with this new administration, we just cannot let any of that hard work and the progress that so many across our nation have made stall. We need to really get more powerful, get more stories like this of patients out there. And as I see them, Claudia, I'll be reaching out to you too. And Benjamin, when I have opportunities for patients to share their stories with media, I'm going to be reaching out to you.
Absolutely.
Honestly, because even on my TikTok, the comments, and the messages that I get, and it's just it is very, very depleting because it's I wish I could, I would do anything to help you. I would give you my health insurance. I would get the shirt off my back so you didn't have to feel this way. And it's happening constantly. And it's just the fact you're sitting here giving hope to other parents that have probably lost it because they didn't, look further. And that's not on them. It's just not something we're taught. We're not taught to ask questions. We are taught to be accommodating. And if they lead us off the phone, okay, thank you. Have a great day.
Yeah.
But it's that's where I come in. And I'm you're not getting me off the phone. I have all day and I'll make coffee and we'll have a sleepover. You're going to give me answers. We're going to figure it out. And if you cannot make it make sense in my head, I need someone else. Because medical literature should not be written to a point where you have to Google what certain things mean. I'm educated. I'm a very good reader. The way they word things, and then at the bottom, this doesn't guarantee payment. I'll be damned. I'll be damned. You don't pay this after everything. Sometimes I feel they should do a Rock'em Sock'em where it can be me against these big muscly men that are denying the care, and I'll show them a picture and punch them in the face every time because it's just nothing else is going to get through their head. That was me getting flustered. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't know. I think together that we're going to just keep pushing this forward, keep making change. And I think that, the best that you can do is to be brave and share your story, like Benjamin, like I am, and so many others. You mentioned Angry Dad. There's simply sharing your story helps a lot. There's like she mentioned earlier, so many people, when I ask them, do you want to speak? Do you want to share your story? They'll say, I'm afraid of retaliation from the insurance company or the pharmacy that I'm forced to. So it's extremely brave. But I can tell you, when it's your child, the biggest force that we have are the parents, because when it's your child, I mean, I think more people would fight harder for their children what they would themselves. So
100%.
No doubt. And both of you guys, look at you sitting up strong. I'm sitting here freaking out over stupid stuff, but you guys are here sitting up strong, sharing your guys' story to help other people know that just because your insurance says no doesn't mean no's the final answer.
Right. Yep. And if you have to reach out to media, do whatever you have to do for your child. And, the next step that I would have suggested, if we could not have gone through today, there's a few more people I was thinking that we could possibly connect them with. I was thinking more media, because sometimes that's all that we can do. And social media is so powerful. X and getting your legislators involved, super critical, to share this story.
Just because she's approved doesn't mean I'm going to stop here. I mean, just what I went through this past weekend has ignited the fire in me to continue on with this fight, because again, it's not just me, and I don't want anybody's family to ever have to go through this.
Well, and it wasn't an indefinite approval, was it?
So I am very skeptical on anything that they tell me, because they already approved me to drop us a week later. So I'm staying hopeful.
What was their verbiage when they dropped you a week later? Like, what did they say? I can't.
It was an automated phone calls. They call you, hey, your request for medication has been denied.
And you're like, I have the paper that says approved.
So when Express had called me today, and it was actually the corporate office, and I don't think any of this would have happened if I didn't go to the media with it, by the way. They had called me today, and I told them, because there's been probably, I would say, 6 or 7 denials between January 9th and today. Hey, I need you guys to mail me all of my denials. I want them all on paper.
All the recordings, everything that went into denying.
Right, because I'm going to keep those on file, and when I need to use them, I will.
Well, and if you ever need anything from me, I know I'm just in Missouri, but apparently I'm good at talking. Weird.
I'm from St. James, by the way.
You're from where?
St. James.
Oh, they have the winery.
Yep.
Oh, wow, that is really neat.
So maybe you'll have to come visit home with your daughter so I can meet her, because she's a superstar, and I want her to become a little kid that's I'm a superhero. I'm a freaking superhero.
Her face is my driving force. Looking at her, that is my driving force. She is my reason to fight for everybody.
Her smile, it was literally the background on my TikTok this morning. And I'm just look at this face. Mm-hmm. And you go to her and you tell her, we're not going to give you the medicine.
Right. Yep.
I admire both of you guys so much. I genuinely do, because I know I have strength now because it's just me. I don't have to worry about anyone else. But you guys are standing up against what's not right, and your experience and your guys' experience speaks volumes, because you guys are 2 people that we've met just crazily in this crazy world. And you're standing up not just for your child, for everyone. You're creating a conversation for everyone to ask more questions, and for more people to be well, wait, if I have 2 insurances, how is Express Scripts involved with the denial?
Right.
I admire both of you guys so much because of your strength. And I know it doesn't mean much, but I'm so proud of you guys.
That means a lot.
Even
I appreciate that.
The steps you guys are making in healthcare, it seems so small, but just sharing these stories, it creates where other people relate, and they're wait, my kid was denied this, and then I ended up having to pay, for more expensive medication that didn't even work. And
we need to stop making that the norm. We got to stop making this, just okay. Well, it's just the insurance. Well, I guess we just have to accept that. No, we don't. We should not accept that. No. That's unacceptable. I hope that. I hope that everyone's story, it just keeps getting dragged farther, because it has to change, and again, my daughter, Sophia, she's my driving force, and I hope everyone else, they look at their child, that should be their driving force, it needs to stop.
Well, these stories are my driving force, because it's just humanity,
Right.
I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. Everyone should feel this way. These are babies. These are, our future. These are the future of our society. These are babies. Mm-hmm. And you guys, regardless of what kickback you could get, regardless of whatever. You're sitting up strong and you're sharing your stories, and it's just, it makes my heart, while it breaks it that you guys have to do it, it also, like, in a way kind of like sews it a little bit, because it's like, we're creating a family. Like, just if one person doesn't feel strong enough to fight one day, call one of us. I'll bitch out anyone at the insurance company, excuse my French. Like, I'll stay on the phone until you feel like fighting, and I'll have every single person's name written down. Like, it is my goal to annoy the absolute living life out of them. And I like,
Claudia's bragged on me, but let me tell you, she's a powerhouse. I've learned a lot from Claudia. I just want some of the energy, that young, youthful energy that she has. But I mean, if I had that energy and my attitude, we might be even more trouble. But I think with Claudia, you're almost there. I think Claudia, she does such a great job in fighting for patients and really highlighting stories in a way that breaks it down so the public can understand. So anyone listening, please go watch, Claudia and Julie's videos, because it will help you understand what we're truly fighting against in healthcare and what's really happening behind those closed office doors. I know when I first told my son's transplant team this is what I was going to be doing, they said, good, we've had to hire, I forget how many staff it was, but it was unfathomable for them to have to fire that many staff or hire that many staff just in order to be able to ensure that patients like my son gets the transplant medications that they need. And that was another moment of just like, what is happening? And this was somewhat new then, that all these offices were hiring people like Claudia, because all of the denials. And now with AI, that seems to be increasing. It's a huge problem.
My thing is, humans will always be smarter than machines. While they may be able to pull more information together, we're a lot wittier. And we shouldn't have to do this. No other country, in France, they're not sitting here like, my child couldn't get medication. No, you go to the doctor, you get a prescription, you go to the pharmacy, the end. Right. No questions asked, and we're making a change, and we've seen things happening, like United Healthcare hiring the group of lawyers for slander. And it is my goal whenever I go live. And it seems so silly, like TikTok, like whenever I first started it, I was like, this is so dumb. Like, this is so embarrassing, but I'm just going to keep doing it. And it's like, now people are like, you've genuinely taught me so much. Like, I know the questions to ask. I know not to let them lead me off the phone. If I end up offshore, I know to ask, send me back onshore because you guys have free healthcare. And it all stems from, like, I feel like I get strength from you guys, because seeing the parents be able to stand up so strong, it's like, why wouldn't I be able to? And today I just signed up to be a national patient advocate. So if anyone needed me to advocate, I would do it, because awesome. Missouri, I can argue all day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to my daughter, I'll go to battle. I'll sit there and argue with them all day. I'm not going to stop.
Well, and Loretta's created a whole movement over this, like, temperature regulation and FDA guidelines, and like, people are genuinely like referring back. So like right now, I like to think that we're like cementing ourselves in history. Like, people are going to look back and look at all of these stories and be like, this is what everyone had to go through before, like, we were able to actually get a hold of healthcare. Like, it's not even healthcare, it's health profit. Like, let's see how fat we can make these Fortune $500 billion companies money when we're all just we're barely scraping by.
Right. Yeah.
And I think they're almost leaning in on the fact that you're so stressed out about your own child, like your own children, that like, you're not going to be able to argue because you're going to be so focused. And it's I'll argue then. If they need to focus, let me in there. They'll give you they'll let me talk. Like, it's obscene and it's not fair. It's gross. It's a horrible tactic, especially going after babies that can't sit there and tell you, I feel this way. Like, this makes me feel this way. Like, I'm so sorry.
Immediate approval. It should just be immediate approval. I mean, it's not. Again, there's a lot of drugs out there that, are in a process of being FDA approved. And I understand that, but those are the cases that maybe they should hear it out, maybe do a little research. Okay, great. Anything that's approved, it should be immediately accepted. Immediately.
Right. And I'm so sorry you've had to go through all of this to kind of learn all of the malicious tactics that go on behind the scenes after your doctor's office visit. Because I do think a lot of people think when they leave their doctor's office visit, like, okay, that's it. And it's genuinely like insurance is the most abusive relationship I've ever been in my entire life. Like, they might not hit me, but they sure as hell project, gaslight, lie, say they're going to call me, don't, and then like promise me something, don't do it. And it's just, I really am so proud of you guys for sitting up here and just being like, this is fucked up. Sorry again, but it is. That's like the best word to say it. It's gross. These tactics are gross. Like, give this baby her medication. Like, she's smiling with IVs. Like, give her $1 million at least. Like, I would, if I had $1 million, I'd give it to you, but I don't, but I will argue.
I appreciate that.
Loretta's really great at getting things planned and organizing things. Next thing you know, we'll have a whole protest down where you are.
If we need to.
Whatever I can do to help. Yeah, whatever you guys put together, I definitely want to be involved. I want this to get out to everybody, and whatever we can do in this family to help you, we will.
Thank you. You as well.
Yeah. Thank you for joining our village.
Thanks for being brave.
For accepting me.
Awesome.
And I think we should all stay in contact and just see how things are going in maybe a few months. See if they've given you any more trouble. Just because I do think it's really important that we show people how things happen in real time. Like, okay, we have an approval today. What's that mean for 6 months from now? Is the approval still good, or are they going to put you through the same hell? Right. Because I dare them. I dare them, because I'll put them through hell. I'm annoying and I don't give up, and I have multiple phones, and I'll just keep harassing. There's nothing you can do. I worked at a car warranty industry. There's nothing you can say or do that's going to scare me or make me feel any type of way. I'm just going to fight for what's right. And what's right is you guys fighting for your children to get the care they need. It's not a question. It's not like we're just asking for a lot. No, this is so they can have as close of a normal quality of life as possible. And like, it wasn't before Christmas, a kid was denied for a prosthetic leg because he was going to grow out of it. And I'm like, all right, well, let's take your leg, David Cordani. Like, if it's so fine to live without, we'll take yours and give it to the kid. Deal. So I admire you. I look forward to us staying in contact. Loretta, thank you so much. I always think I know so much, but there's so much more. I just keep learning. And to your family, I'm keeping them in my thoughts and my prayers. Like, especially like the teenage sons, like I can only imagine their hearts, and that's a lot too. So if you guys ever do make it out to Missouri, I'd love to buy you guys dinner. We could do something, whatever, like pretend everything's normal.
Just like I said, keep me in the loop. I mean, whatever we can do, whatever we can do in this family to help you, we will, and we really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to talk to me and hear Sophia's story. And I hope that this reaches other people. Make sure to share this on I don't know how this works with my Facebook, but I want to be able to get this onto other platforms and then share this with all the nonprofits that I belong to as well.
And I want you to know there's been at least 200 comments, and even people from like different countries on TikTok that are like, you're a lion. Like, don't give up. The strength you have is unimaginable. Like, hold on. Like, just they're in awe at your guys' strength, because like support from Paris, be strong, never give up. Like, these other countries are watching us and they're like, maybe America's not that great.
Yeah.
It's very unfortunate.
It is. When we're supposed to be this wealthy nation that has so much and the best of healthcare, and actually in reality, we have some of the worst.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's your guys' strength that's going to drive the change. I'm just a loud mouth, but your guys' strength and standing up to these people genuinely is what's going to change things. Because as parents, you guys are in this unfortunate club of parents that have to fight for their children to try to live normally. And like, you guys aren't the only ones, but you guys are sure as hell opening the door so other people are like, if they can do it, I can do it too. And for anyone out there, if you're going through it and you want help, if you don't feel comfortable sharing your story and you want me to do it, and like, or Loretta, or there's so like, I will do anything to help people. Loretta will do anything. Benjamin's fought his ass off, so we're not going to ask him to do anything right now. We're going to let him focus on the family.
Tanner's girl. Yeah.
But like, genuinely, just reach out to us, because the whole goal is to educate, and so you don't feel like you're being gaslit by your insurance. You've been paying insurance, what? I'm trying to think, like 20 years?
Yeah.
It's for what?
Yeah.
So I'm honored to be in this little group. Like, you guys, your strength, I can't even put into words. And I'm pretty good with words sometimes, but there are no words. You guys genuinely are superheroes, not only for your children, but also for families out there that, you know, the single parent households, the households that, you know, might not speak like fluent English, that might not have the highest level of education. You guys are showing them that just by sitting here and talking about it, you can drive change. So like, if you ever feel like what you're doing isn't adequate, I want you to message me, because I'll put both of you in your place, because you guys are the ones driving the change. And if we have to send a picture of Sophia, and if we have to send, like, I'm bringing up the FDA regulations like constantly on like, there's things that need to change. There's things that we need to emphasize. And there's a reason 70% of our nation goes to TikTok for healthcare advice and not call their insurance company. Right. And maybe that's because we're able to I'm able to dumb it down, but like, I wouldn't have my platform had it not been for you guys giving me a chance to talk to you and like share your stories. So like, I'm genuinely so grateful, and will always be a right-hand woman for you. If you need absolutely anything, I'll figure it out. I don't give up. And you've got a village, both of you guys do. And like, I know, Loretta, for you, you're still fighting. Like, nothing's ever for sure for the next day. And you guys have held it better than me. I'm pretty sure I've had the most tears falling down. And it's like, I'm not even the one going through it. And it's like, so your guys' strength is absolutely admirable. I aspire to be like you guys, genuinely.
Thank you.
I think we can both say that we hope that you never find yourself ever in this situation, and we hope that no one else does. You know, I know for myself, this wasn't a strength that I ever wanted to have. I'm glad for the opportunity to be strong and help other people. And if that's the best that could come out of these situations, then if it can help somebody else, you know, I can't say it makes everything easier. You know, it doesn't really make it easier, but it gives some type of, for our family, at least some type of purpose for that struggle and that pain, and gives us an avenue to put it towards something positive, you know. But I dream of the day when there isn't any more patients like Sophia and Wesley that have to suffer, or Cole and Shannon and Bill that lost their son. You know, I dream when that day comes here in America.
I hope it's soon. Julie's a lot more optimistic than I am, because I just keep seeing different branches come out of confusion. But I do genuinely believe by us sharing this, and it's educating people that they can ask questions. And they can, like, they don't have to take the first no as, well, that's no. Guess we're going to have to go operate. My daughter might lose her vision. Like, no, absolutely not. We're going to do what the doctor says. Whoever's denying it, give me your NPI right now. I'd love to see what kind of doctor you are, other than doctor of bullshit. Like, we are the face of change. You guys are the face of change. And I know, I can just tell from what I'm reading that just this conversation has given so many people strength to be like, I have some questions. Like, could you message me? Like, my daughter can't get, she was just born and she can't get her nutritional baby formula approved. And it's just like, why are we targeting babies?
Yeah, that's a whole nother struggle. We had a very hard because she had to be on new Nutramigen because she has deficiencies and stuff, which a lot of babies do nowadays. So I mean, that's a whole nother battle in its own.
Let me know. I used to work at an OB and I used to hand out that formula like I was Oprah. Look under your seat. You've got some extra nutritional baby formula, but they do hand it out to hospitals like it's candy. Like we used to have these packs, and it's like, I wish they would use it in a way for the families that need it. You know, like not every baby needs extra nutrition in their formula. Let's save some because this is extremely expensive. Right. Not only did you just have a baby and the baby comes out $10,000 in debt, like they don't even have a 401k, but they have $10,000 in debt, and then we're going to say they don't have credit for a credit card? Like, what do you? It's not making sense. And what you guys are doing are sharing why it doesn't make sense, and it's because it doesn't make sense because they're doing the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. The reason they don't have PR is because not even PR can think of a propaganda way to spin this to where they don't look like assholes.
Yeah, or I think they think they're going to say something that's going to get them in more trouble, like they already have many times with that PR. Because
that's why SaveRx won't talk to us. They just disconnect the call every time we call. It's like a pharmacy benefit manager for unions. Really? And they expect us to still send medication. Anytime I call, I can't talk to your office, have the patient call. And I'm like, do you understand the liability that is? If I can't talk to a pharmacist and say I need to take back a medication that was sent in incorrectly, but you guys just hang up the phone?
Oh, that's new. So is that Save on SP or is that the same?
It's SaveRx. So SaveRx has infiltrated themselves into the unions, and they help the unions save 7 to 8%, but they don't cover any biologic medications.
Well, thank you for sharing that with me. I'll have to
you look at some of my TikToks, you'll see me get hung up on like 4 times. And I'm like, are you like, I have the patient in the room with me at one point. And the patient's like, I'm right here. And they're like, sorry, we can't talk to the office. Click.
Oh my. All right. Yeah. I'll be looking them up. I've had another little battle I've had to fight recently in my local town, but I'm going to do some searching on that because I'm sure there's probably a whole page dedicated to them. If not, we might have to get one dedicated because I'm sure there's a lot of people with issues if that's how they're treating the providers.
And the power of social media is I was live while doing all of that. I think there were like 20 comments, like 1-star ratings saying hanging up on the doctor's office is all I need to say, or justice for Claudia, or how are you going to just hang up? Like, I will not use this pharmacy at seeing the way that they treat people. And that's what we're doing. We're just bringing awareness. We're not being hateful in any way. Are we mad at them? Yes.
Sure.
But we're not being hateful. We're just asking them to do the right thing. Like if they turned around and they were like, hey, I only need 1 billion. Here's 4 billion to put into healthcare. I think we'd all be happy.
Right.
Loretta, you're amazing. We need to meet up together soon and
you are too.
Look at our diagrams and see where we are.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to get something organized, like an event, because I have this exotic animals guy that said he'll come down. And my whole thought process is like, are you tired of getting treated like a pet? Well, you can come pet our exotic animals and we'll tell you about healthcare.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
Right.
That would be great. And especially something that would appeal to, the general public has been needed for quite some time.
Right. And then we have all the different organizations there too, like FMMA. So if you want direct care, you can get more information or you can see why people are doing this and the other. So that's in the process.
You're awesome. I appreciate you so much too. And thank you so much, Benjamin, again. Just great.
Thank you to both of you. And, let's keep pushing.
Absolutely. And I will see you guys both soon. I'll share my phone number with you. Loretta has it. If you need anything, reach out to us genuinely. I will set aside whatever time I need to help you, because it's a hard battle, especially when you have other children and a wife that's confused and scared, and like you having to be the strength, and it's admirable. It's amazing. And so don't ever cut yourself short. You are an amazing father, and any kid would be lucky to have you as their father.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to push this out, and let's fingers crossed for change. And we'll talk to you again in a couple months.
Sounds good. Thank you. Let us know what we can do.
Absolutely. Same here. Bye, guys.
Thanks. Bye.
Now it's me trying to figure out how to end it. Got it. All right. Bye, Loretta. Love you.
Love you too.